Hello everyone, a very good evening and welcome to this live session on percentages using speed math brought to you by TalentSprint. I hope all of you are healthy and so is your preparation for the upcoming bank exams, especially the IBPS PO preliminary exam which is scheduled for the mid of October. And like we have discussed in our earlier live classes, practice is the only key. The more you practice, the easier it gets, right? Whatever be the subject or topic, right? We've talked about syllogisms in our first live class. Then yesterday we covered, questions on simplifications using various speed math techniques. So I think in both the cases we found that with practice, your imperfections would reduce, and hence you'll be able to do it faster and easily during your actual examination. So I think the same thing is applicable for percentages as well, right? And in our session today we are going to talk about how do you do percentage based calculations, right? Like we have understood, every question from quantitative aptitude involves numbers, right? You have to deal with numbers, and there can be many questions where percentages are involved. There can be direct questions based on percentages, there can be simplifications where percentages are involved, then there is data interpretation where percentage based questions can be asked, especially the ones with pie charts, right? Because pie chart is usually given in terms of percentages. So what we have realized over the last few years is, that's one topic where many students struggle. Now, the problem is not that they struggle. The problem is they don't know that they're struggling there, right? And when I say struggle, I mean they do paperwork. Like for example, you need to find out 55% of, let's say 1200. You cannot be doing that on paper, right? Or if you need, let's say 48% of 2400, that should not be done on paper. You should be capable enough to arrive at the answer in a jiffy without doing any paperwork. So that's what we are going to focus on in this session today, right? I don't have any questions that I would solve. I'll explain you the basics of percentages, the concepts which come under percentages based data interpretation questions, and a quick few techniques of how to deal with percentage based calculations. All right, so if you're all set, we can get started. I see many of you in the chat here, and I think we can quickly start the discussion. So let me start with some very basic calculations, right? Like for example, 50% of any value is half of the value, right? We understand that 50% is equal to 1 by 2, half, right? So 50% of any number would be half of the number, right? So 50% of x is x by 2, and that's very easy to calculate, right? If I say 50% of 900, 450 is the answer, and I'm sure all of you have got that. 50% of 1600 is 800. We can calculate this very quickly without doing any paperwork. Now what is working here? It's not 50% that you're actually calculating, right? What you're actually doing is half. The understanding that you have in terms of 50% being equal to 1 by 2 is what is helping you get the answer quickly. Likewise, if I say 25%, we all know that it is 1/4 of the value, right? So whenever 25% has to be calculated, instead of taking it as 25%, if you take it as 1/4, the calculation becomes a lot simpler and you arrive at the answer much faster. Take an example, 25% of, let's say, 2400. Now actually 25% of 2400, if you kind of start simplification there, you may spend about 5-6 seconds, but then 1/4, 25% is 1/4. So you need to take a quarter of 2400, which is 600, right? 25% of 3600 is 900. 1/4 of 3600, right? Now, of course, I'm also taking simpler numbers to help you understand the concept, but the same is applicable for even not so simple numbers. Like for example, if I say what is 25% of, let's say, 168, it will be 42. 1/4 of 168, right? Or 25% of let's say 36.5, it will be 9.125, because 25% of 36 is 9. 25% of 0.5 will be 0.125. So 9.125. You're getting it. You can just apply the same concept for any number given to you. Now the fact here that needs to be understood is that it is not the percentage that makes the calculation easier. It is the fraction that really helps you, right? And there are many such standard fractions that you must learn by heart. Like 50% is half, 25% is 1 by 4, 10% we all know is 1/10, right? You know 10% is very easy to solve, right? 10% of any number is 1/10 of the number. So 10% of 432 is 43.2. 10% of 2967 is 296.7. 10% of 14.8 will be 1.48. You simply divide the value by 10. So these fractions in many cases makes it very easy to calculate. So first of all, let's quickly look at this list of some standard fractions that you must learn by heart. Like we always say, right, 1 to 30 squares must be learned by heart. 1 to 15 cubes you must know by heart. So there are certain percentages and their equivalent fractions that you must know really well. And you should be able to use it more than just knowing it. You should be able to apply it at the right time. So let's look at this list and then do some very quick calculations based on percentages. So I'm going to list down all those important fractions that I was talking about, right? Let's start with 100%. 100% of any number is the number itself, right? So it's equal to 1. So if I say 100% of x, it is 1 into x, which is x itself. 100% of 587.362 is 587.362. Yeah. Next comes 50%. 50% is what? It is half, 1 by 2. Then let's say 33.33% is equal to what? 1 by 3. Then we have 25%, which is equal to what? 1 by 4. We have 20%, which equals 1 by 5. Then as 66.66%, 1/6. Then we have 14.2857%, which is 1 by 7. We have 12.5%, which is equal to 1 by 8. We have, let's say, 11.11%, which is 1 by 9. We have 10%, which is 1 by 10. Which is, next one is 9.09%, which is 1 by 11. And then let's say we have 8.33%, which is 1 by 12. Now we can also find out 1 by 13, 1 by 14 and so on, but in my view there's no end to this list, right? There should be a stop, and I think you should stop at 1 by 12. Do not go further, not required in my view, right? So if you know these percentages and their equivalent fractions, a lot of other calculations can be done really quick, right? So let me just kind of take one of these to go in details, right? Like for example, you see 12.5% is 1 by 8. Now it is not just one value or one equation that you can see here. There are multiple equations that you can spot here. For example, let me multiply both sides by 2. What happens when you multiply both sides by 2? 12.5% into 2 is 25%. 1 by 8 into 2 is 2 by 8, which is 1 by 4. So basically 25% is 1 by 4, which we already know here. But multiply both sides by 3. If you multiply both sides by 3, what do we get? 12.5 into 3 is 37.5. So 37.5% equals to 3 by 8. Now this is very important. Now, you just think of it, right? If you know what is 37.5% in terms of fraction, your life would become very simple. And I have seen enough questions in past exams, real exams, where 37.5% is used. Now there are two types of students. Student A, who knows what 37.5% is equal to in terms of its fraction, and the student B who doesn't know what it is, but he knows how to do a percentage based calculation. Let's just think of it, 37.5% of 2400. In one question on simplification, there is one term which is 37.5% of 2400. What will A do? 3 by 8 of 2400. 900 is the value. And it is because I'm talking, it's taking longer, right? When you do it mentally here itself in this part of your body, you know the answer is 900, right? 3/8 of 2400 is 900. Or 37.5% of, let's say, 1600 is 600. And you see, the moment I see 37.5%, I replace that with 3 by 8. 3 by 8 of 1600 is 600. Yeah, you are getting the point, right? So that's how student A does it. Now what will student B do? What will student B do? Look at this. He'll have to do this. What will he do? 37.5% of, he has to first of all write this on paper. And by the time he writes it, student A is already in the next step, right? He already knows what 37.5% of 2400 is. Now this person, student B, he will write 37.5 by 100 into 2400. Now it depends, right? He may take it as, zeros getting cancelled, then multiplying 37.5 by 24. There's a fraction involved, decimal involved. So maybe he'll multiply 375 by 24. And then he'll divide by 10 to get the value and so on. But imagine the amount of time that he's spending here to get the answer. You understand the difference, right? So this is where the difference lies between those who score more and those who are not able to do that, all right? Every question in quantitative aptitude involves numbers. You just have to know how to play with those numbers. The moment you see those two-digit numbers, the best way to multiply should strike your mind, right? I mean, you should know that, okay, this is how I would get it. And only thorough practice can help you, get to that level. There's no shortcut. This is not the shortcut. Knowing 37.5% equals to 3 by 8 is not the shortcut. Being able to apply it is what matters. And that can happen only when you practice thoroughly. Yeah. Likewise, if I have to kind of extrapolate on the other fractions here. Now, if you go further, right, multiply by 4. What is 4 by 8? 1 by 2. And 1 by 2 should be 50%. Yes. 12.5 into 4 is 50%. Multiply by 5. 62.5% is 5 by 8. Multiply by 7. 87.5% is 7 by 8. Look at this. 11.11 is 1 by 9. 22.22% is 2 by 9. 33.33% is 3 by 9. 44.44% is 4 by 9. 55.55% is 5 by 9. Look at this. 9.09% is 1 by 11. Now, it's not just list of 12 that I gave you, right? If you extend that list, if you just stretch it, these 12 fractions will lead to 50 valuable equations, which can make your life simple in the exam. Right? And by doing this exercise, even if you can save 10 seconds in your real exam, I think you have done the right thing, right? 10 seconds is gold, right? Time is gold. Time is very, very important, right? So if practicing on this helps you save even 10 seconds, it's worth it, right? So 9.09% is 1 by 11. It's not just one equation. There are 11 equations there. You know what is 1 by 11? Find out 2 by 11, 3 by 11, 4 by 11, 5 by 11, 6 by 11, 7 by 11, 8 by 11, 9 by 11, 10 by 11, up to 11 by 11. And is it difficult to learn it by heart? No. 9 is a very special number, right? We talked about the digital root method in our class yesterday, right? Root digit method. Very fancy. We looked at the power of 9 there, right? In some sense. So the same is applicable here. 9.09 multiplied by 2, 18.18, 27.27, 36.36, 45.45, 54.54. 63.63 and so on. So if I want to know what is 7 by 11, it is 63.63. What is 5 by 11, it is 45.45. What is 8 by 11, 72.72. Am I actually learning it by heart? No. Or maybe, yeah, I have learned it by heart, but I can also do it on the spot. I mean, I know 1 by 11 is 9.09. 7 by 11 should be 63.63. That's it. Now, you may not be asked exactly 63.63% in the exam. But if, let's say, you have to calculate 64% approximately, can you not take it as 7 by 11 and see what the closest option is? We have discussed about approximation yesterday in our class. We have learned that approximation should not be done just for questions based on approximation. It can also be done for questions on simplifications. Even though you have to do a complete calculation, by approximation you can arrive at the answer. Now this is approximation. He is asking us to find out 64%, but I'll take it as 63.63%, which is very close to 64. And 63.63 in my view is, I mean, not in my view, it actually is 7 by 11. So 7 by 11 of the given value. And by any chance, if the value given there is a multiple of 11, calculation becomes a lot simpler. It may or may not be a multiple of 11, but if it is a multiple of 11, calculation becomes a lot simpler. So learn these fractions by heart, number one, and practice on them daily. I mean, not daily, but at least next few days, spend some time on dealing with these percentages. Trust me, you'll start loving it. I mean, you'll just want more and more questions then. I mean, you would want somebody to ask you percentage based calculations and do it mentally. Now, is this all? Is this enough? No, nothing is enough. Your preparation is never over in my view, right? I mean, can you come and say that my preparation for bank exam is over or IBPS is over? No, it will never get over. So this is the end? No, this is not the end. There can be other fractions, other percentages, like for example 48%. Now no fraction here would give you 48%. None of these fractions would give you 48%. But do you really need to put pen and paper for 48%? No. Let's take an example. 48% of, let's say, take some number. I mean, I would like to take simpler numbers. Not because it is easy to explain for me, but it is easy to understand for all of us. Yeah. So let's take simpler numbers and we can make it complex as we practice. So 48% of, let's say 800. 48% of 800. Now some of you may say it's simple. 48 into 8. Yes. Zeros and zeros get cancelled. 48 into 8. But don't do it in terms of multiplication, right? Let's actually do it in terms of percentages. It's very interesting. 48%. Is not 48%, it is 50% minus 2%, right? 50% minus 2%. So I want 48% of 800, I'll take 50% of 800 and remove 2% of 800 from that. 50% is there, 400, right? I mean, you know it, 50% of the value. It's 400. What is 1% of 800? Does that need any paperwork? No. Does it need anything more than a second? No. I mean, split of a second, 1% of 800 is 8. Yes or no? If 1% is 8, 2%, what is 2%? See, 2% is 1% into 2. This understanding is very, very important. I'm not saying you don't know about it. You know about it, but we don't apply it. That's the problem. The fact that 2% is 1% into 2 is very, very useful. The fact that 5% is 10% by 2 is very useful. Or 3% is 1% into 3 is very, very powerful. You're getting it? 30% is 10% into 3, very, very useful. I need 2%. I don't bother about 2%. I know 1% is 8. I know into 2 will give me 2%. So 8 into 2, 16. So 48% of 800 is 400 minus 16. 384 is the answer. We won't spend so much time in the exam, right? If you have practiced, it kind of happens rapidly in your brain, and you know the value is 384. I need 49% of, let's say, 5,600. Should that be complex? No. 5,600, 49%. The moment you see 49%, you know it's 50 minus 1. 50% of 5,600 is 2,800. 1% is 56. 2,800 minus 56. 2,744 should be the answer. Because I'm talking, it took 5 seconds. If I don't talk and do it mentally, I look at that and 2744 is the value. That's how I would react. I'm not boasting my skills. I can do it. You also can do it. You'll have to practice. I also have to practice. Yesterday we saw I was kind of going wrong in one calculation repeatedly. Lack of practice. Practice is the key, right? Practice is the key. I need 53%. Is it complex? 53% is not there in any of these fractions. But 53% is 50% plus 3%. Same thing. Instead of subtracting, you add it. I need 55%. Think of that. 55% or 45%. What is 55% of, let's say, 6,000? Appears to be complex because it is 55%. But you make it simple. Break it. 55 is not 55. It is 50 and 5. 50% of 6,000 is 3,000. Now, I told you, right? The understanding of certain things is important. 5%, if you treat it as 5%, may sound or may take a little longer, couple of seconds, 2 seconds. But if you look at 5% as 50% by 10, your life is simple. 5% is not 5%, it is 50% by 10. Now, what is the significance of taking it as 50% by 10? I already know what 50% is. So 55% is 50% plus 5%. This is 3,000, so this should be 300. There ends the matter. 5% is 50% by 10. Now this equivalent of 50% is 3,000, so this should be 300. 3,300. It's simple. Keep practicing, you'll be able to do even more complex questions without putting pen on paper. And just think of it once, right? If you were to do 55% of 4,800 in the exam, would you do it on paper or without paper? I'm sure most of your response will be yes, on paper, because we're not comfortable doing it. Why are we not comfortable doing it without paper? Because we have not practiced, or maybe because we don't understand that it could be done so easily. What do we have to do? 55% of 4,800. 2,400 plus 240, 2,640, or 45% of 4,800. 45% is 50% minus 5%. So 2,400 minus 240, 2,160. Is it difficult to subtract 240? Maybe for some of you. Is it difficult to subtract 240 from 2,400? Could be. Answer could be yes for some of you. What do we do? Don't subtract 240. 240 is not 240. It is 200 and 40. So 2,400 minus 200 is 2,200. And then 40 subtracted from that will give you 2,160. As simple as that. Yeah. So there's nothing new that I'm teaching you. I mean, you all know this. We all know about these techniques. We fail to apply it, or we're not comfortable applying it. Because we are working under pressure, we feel like, boss, why do we want to take a chance? Let me do it on paper. No, I've been doing it for ages together, right? Since my childhood, I've done it on paper. So you end up doing that and wasting your time. And then you're like, time management. I'm not able to manage my time. 35 questions, only 30 minutes or only 20 minutes. Yeah. But the guy who has scored 32 also has got it in 30 minutes only, right? He has not come from Mars, or he was not given extra time. He's doing some things differently. Identify those things, and I think numerical skill definitely is one of those things. Trust me, I have spoken to enough successful candidates from bank exams. I always find that they are sharp in numbers, or and that's not by birth, right? I mean, you're not a born genius, right? You don't have to be a born genius. You can practice and learn it. You can master that. So practice. I need 18% of some number, 7,200. 18% of 7,200. 20% minus 2%. 1440 minus 144 is the answer. 7,200. 10% is 720. 20% will be 1440. 2% will be 1440 by 10. 2% is 20% by 10. 1440 by 10, 144. So 1440 minus 144. I would not subtract 144. It's difficult. I'll subtract 140 first. So 1440 minus 140 is 1300. Minus 4. 1296 is the answer. And you'll not be writing these steps on paper. You'll not be reading it out or telling it loud in the class or when you're doing it yourself. Keep your mouth shut. Do it mentally. Yeah. 1296 is the answer. Verified. 1440 minus 140. You need 23% of some value. Either take it as 20 plus 3 or 25 minus 2. Now there is no hard and fast rule that 23 should always be taken as 20 plus 3. No. It can also be taken as 25 minus 2. It can be taken as 30 minus 7. It can be taken as 24 minus 1. It depends on what numbers you are dealing with. It depends on what numbers you are dealing with. So what is comfortable for you, try and do that. Just try and do that. Alright? So I think we can just keep taking more and more examples. There is no end to it. But understand the fact that your numerical skills are very, very crucial. They play a key role, right? Especially these multiplications and percentage-based calculations. Let's say you have a data interpretation pie chart. And if you kind of go back and look at the history of bank exams, right? The kind of pie charts and percentages they give, right? 12%, 16%, 23%. Maybe these days they have tried to make it a little complex by adding decimals to it or, not giving such simple numbers. But end of it is 100%, which is split into different pies, right? Different sections. Yeah, you need 31% of some value. It is 30% plus 1%. Think of a number, right? What do you want? 31% of, shall we do 5,500? Now you can say it is 31 into 55 because number is ending with 2 zeros. But yeah, try it in terms of percentages. 31% of 5,500. It's like, it's very, visually it's very, very fancy if you understand what you have to do, right? 5,500, that 550 comes down as 10%. That's 10%. Multiply by 3, it will give you 30%. 550 into 3, 1650, right? Again, if you're not able to do 550 into 3, break 550 into two parts. 500 into 3, 50 into 3. 500 3s, 1500. 50 3s is 150. Club together. You understand? Split and then merge. So 1500 plus 150, 1650. So 30% of 5,500 is 1650. I need one more percent. What is one more percent? 1%, 55. 1650 plus 55. That is 1705. If it is taking 5 seconds for you to get to the answer, you still have a long way to go. Because this calculation can be done in about 2 to 3 seconds. Not 3 seconds, but somewhere between 2 and 3 seconds. Believe me, it can be done. You just need to practice. Alright, so I think I'll stop here. We'll meet again for the next live class. We'll let you know through this YouTube channel that we have. But I think it's very important to understand the importance of doing calculations mentally, and more than that, understand that we are very poor in calculation. We think we know how to add, multiply, divide or subtract, but we actually don't know, because all we know is how to do it on paper. So practice on this, spend 30-45 minutes every day, not just percentages, overall on calculations. And by the time you are in the middle of October, when your exam actually kind of comes in, you would feel the difference. You will feel that you're able to do it really quick, right? And you'll get the confidence. And this is something that you need to practice on a daily basis. You can learn the concepts of time and work in just one day or half a day and master that topic. You can learn time and distance or profit and loss or simple interest and compound interest in just a few hours and master all the shortcuts and concepts required or smart methods required. What takes time is to master this skill of numbers, right? So spend more time on this than the shortcut formula, right? If anybody tells you what is, or rather asks you what is the best way to score more, or what do you need to score more in a quantitative aptitude like section, don't say I need to know shortcut formula. You can learn all those 30, 40, 50 limited shortcut formula in half an hour or 1 hour or 2 hours, one day before the exam. You can learn it by heart, right? What we need is smart way to do calculations, right? So keep practicing. I'm sure it'll help you, and keep posting your questions in the comments, right? And we are, let me tell you, we are picking up all these topics randomly based on the suggestions that we are getting from you, right? Based on what you are struggling with. So if there's any topic or anything that you want us to take up in our upcoming live classes, please feel free to post it in the comments, and do subscribe to our channel, because that's how you'll get notified about our live classes and the videos that we are uploading, right? Let me also remind you that we have published a 50-day study plan for IBPS PU exam, which is available on our channel. You can go to the homepage of our channel and download the plan. What is interesting in this plan is not just the 50-day schedule that we have given, but the links to each of those topics where you can go and watch all the relevant videos. So I think make the most out of this content available on the channel, and keep practicing, right? Keep practicing. Please subscribe and share your feedback with us through comments and the topics that you want us to take up in the upcoming live classes. Thank you so much for joining us today. We have a weekend coming tomorrow, Saturday and Sunday, but it's not a weekend for those who are appearing for the IBPS PU exam, because these days are not gonna come back. So make the most of this weekend. You can enjoy later. Keep practicing, and do take very good care of yourselves. Bye.